Before all the technology that we have now, the last 2 decades, I would say, like we've just been getting better and better and better at technology, which is good in some cases. But I'm trying to convince people to go back to being human. Hey, what's up? I hope you're doing good today. Today I was wanting to talk about how the name of the podcast came about. A couple people asked me. It wasn't not a big thing, but I was going to explain it anyway. But I feel that the name Goodbye Works has a really good tone to it. It just kind of explains it, sums it all up. And even with the train thing, like I don't know how that, I guess that came about because of the neighborhood I grew up in. I grew up in Kensington from when I was real young until 18, 19 years old. And then I moved to South Philly. But for the most part, I rode the train. You know, growing up in a neighborhood like that, it's, you know, similar to New York. Like in Philadelphia, we had the L train and we rode that back and forth. And I feel that kind of had that with the name Goodbye Works had kind of like a connection. And the train felt like the visual felt good because it gives you an understanding. Like it gives you an easier way to perceive things that when I'm telling you, like a lot of people out here on YouTube and like podcasts and platforms, not that they're bad. I'm just saying that they use a lot of big words and they come off as super intelligent and well-educated. That's great. But there are a lot of people out there that don't like connect. So it's like I'm trying to connect with as many people as possible, meaning like I want to be able to connect with the businessman that works at a bank, but also be able to connect with someone that, you know, lives in a rough neighborhood, doesn't understand what's going on and has a tough time in life right now, maybe lost a lot of people in their life and they're stuck. But I've noticed with the train thing, it's like life is like that train. And sometimes we get off on a stop and we stay there. We stay stuck. And we stay at that stop in that area for way too long. That could be anything in your life. It could be you just being mad at someone. It could be you, staying bitter at someone for way too long, and you've ruined your life because you've practiced being mad or bitter, and now you really can't hear anything because of the noise in your head is saying, no, don't trust anybody, don't trust this. It's like you never get back on the train and move forward. I feel that's a pretty good way to explain life. That you should just get back on the train, move forward, go to the next stop and see what is in that town or that area. It could change your perspective. You could meet new people. A lot of people I see today, because of the phones and the technology, they're very, very stuck, heads down. They don't know how to talk to people. I've noticed that with kids a lot too. Like they're very mad because they're constantly feeding their brain with visuals. And I would say 90% of the visuals are not good. It's mostly people and what we would call adults, which are not, to me, I would say to you, and I hope people don't get offended, but in a way, like, they're not adults arguing. They're children in bigger bodies. You know, my politician's better than yours. This president's better than this one. This religion's better than this one. We have separated ourselves so much that we hate each other. And we have to remember that we're still human. But anyway, so the train, I feel, goes hand in hand with the Goodbye Works. And how I came up with that is when I was going through a really bad time. And if I say some years and I don't get it like totally spot on, because sometimes in life things become a blur because there's so much going on, and you'll say, I think it was 2009, 2007, and you'll be probably wrong. But you have an understanding of where it was. But when I was doing really bad in my life, and what I mean by really bad, no one really knows that, like, during the course of this business, Killer Creations, right? painting for people. It was so stressful. People did not really understand what I was dealing with, right? So now I get to a point in my life where everybody in my life is gone. My friends, a lot of my friends, a couple people are still there, of course, because that's how it works out. A lot of people left, and I'm not saying that to make them look bad at all. Trust me, it's not about that. There was a lot of things that I did that I had to see in myself that I had to change. And that's where I started to learn even more, right? So like, just to give you an understanding, when I was totally like at my lowest point, I wasn't an alcoholic, but I did drink to get through some days. I wasn't like a blazing alcoholic where I just got drunk all the time, every day. But there was some mornings I just couldn't handle it because I had a plan when I was younger. I had a plan, like we all do, like you do. Like you have a plan. And for some reason, it doesn't work out and you're like mad, right? We all get there. Like we're all mad. Like it didn't work the way I wanted it to. And that's what I've noticed. And that's what brought me along the changes. There's a lot more that I have to explain later, but I'm just trying to sum it up to where our lives are very complicated. And I always say this to people. You've never heard me say this because it's the first time hearing me, but I hear a lot of people, especially like who I love, Jordan Peterson. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying there's people, I wish I could insert myself when I'm listening to their podcasts or their videos. I'm like, I wish I could insert myself and say, no, it's okay. I feel this is really what's happening, right? So when Jordan Peterson says life is suffering, it's not, but it is a part of life. It's a part. Life is not totally suffering. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying that he said, but I did hear him say, and I have heard other people say that life is suffering. It's not. So if you're going through something, please understand that's just a part of life. That's a part of life because there's a reason why we're here, and this is what learning is. Learning how to be human, not in a group. So let me get my thoughts back. So growing up, where was I at? This is the problem with me. I go off all different directions. All right. So, but yeah, listening to people talk about life and what we're going through and then where I was when everything fell apart. I thought at that point it was the end of the world. I did. Like I didn't know how to handle it because I wasn't prepared, because I thought in the moment, in those decades, or maybe let's say like decade and a half of business, I thought I was living life because that's what the world tells you. Go get a business, do this, do that, right? I grew up poor, and for so long I understood what it was to not have. So growing up and then finally getting a job at the pizza place when I worked in high school, I went to a pizza place, worked there for a while. Well, for 4 years. I worked there 4 years. I worked there all through high school. And when I got out, I said, I want to do something. I want to be something. I want my family to have something. And that was my thing when I was younger. Like having money to help other people, to help my family. That was my plan, right? It didn't go exactly the way I thought. Our mom passed very young, 48 years old, right? She passed in the middle of the night. And that changed the course of my life greatly. I didn't have the greatest relationship with my mom when I was younger, but it got better when I moved out. It got better because we stopped fighting each other. Not that she didn't love me, not that I didn't love her, but sometimes it's just what it is. But anyway, so I wanted to do things just like other people. Like, you got football players, you got musicians, they grow up with a similar story and they're like, I bought my mom a house, I bought my mom this, I do this. So that was my mindset for the longest time. I wanted to do something for my family and have a lot of friends come along with the ride. And it didn't happen that way. it was going good for a while, but then it slowly started to fall apart because I couldn't keep up with that character anymore. I couldn't keep up with that person that I had to be outside, like the Killer Creations person, Freddie. Showing up to shows, I was getting tired. I was losing everything. I was not paying attention to my friendships. I was not paying attention to my marriage. A lot of things. I was just doing it thinking, if I get this, everything will be okay. And then nothing. And I remember being in my shop one day, and I remember just like being by myself. Everybody's gone. Like, and I don't mean gone for the day. I mean gone for good. They left, and it wasn't like it was a bad thing. But at the time, I thought it was a bad thing. And I remember being by myself and being like really sad. And I'm like looking up and I'm saying, God, why? Like, why is this happening? And I heard a voice in my head said, you were too distracted and I needed time. I needed time with you alone. And what I noticed about things, the voice in your head that usually speaks right-minded things, like good things, even when you're in like this anxious mood or whatever, when there's a voice in your head that speaks calmly and has the right thing to say, listen to that voice, because that is the voice of God. So I heard that and I kind of calmed down and I started to say, okay, I'm going to look at myself from now on and better myself. And from that point on, was it hard? It was extremely hard. It was extremely, extremely hard. I'm never going to say it's like, oh, God came into my life, and then this happened, and a dove landed on my shoulder. It didn't happen. So, but I know for sure that the journey from there to here was an up and down road. Like it was an uphill battle, and then there was some wins along the way, and it changed me as a person. It changed my character, and it changed my character, and it made me see that through that I was able to help other people see the world in a different way. Sometimes I get crazy. Sometimes I'm like, I talk and I get off and people are like, what are you talking about? But for the most part, like, it was more about being human. It was going back to being human, not being a part of a group or a religion or some kind of political view. Like, it was about being human. I never, ever talked to anybody about political views. It doesn't change me. If you've noticed throughout the years, no matter who you're sticking with, we're still paying a lot of taxes and medical coverage is still jacked up all around, right? And the world's not in such a great place. So who's really saving us? You think your politician's doing a good job? We have to get back to being human. And that's like the main conversation I want to have with you. It's like, just hear me out and let's just be human again. I know that sounds corny, maybe. I don't know. But that's the reason why, like, I came up with this, because it's some way to reach people that are like really closed up. Like, they don't even come out of their house. They're probably watching videos to try to get some kind of fulfillment in their life. And I would love to be that person for the person that has absolutely no one. Because at a point in my life, I want to cry on the first 3 videos. At a point in my life, I felt like I had absolutely no one, including God. But I gotta take a drink of water. This is rough. All right, I feel better now. So anyway, so when I finally I moved, everything fell apart. Life fell apart for me. And then I moved actually from my area where I was back to my kind of like my original area in Kensington. It was still a cool neighborhood. It wasn't bad, but I was not far from Kensington. If some people know about this place, it's on YouTube. It's very sad. There's a lot of people that go there to give up life. And they do, they do drugs, and a lot of people mock them, and I'm just like, it's sad. It's really sad that people go there and they're addicted. And it wasn't like that growing up. It was actually a pretty cool neighborhood. Kensington was an okay neighborhood. I remember my mom and her friends sitting out at night till like 2 a.m. on chairs talking during the summertime. It was a fun time. It was like a lot of great memories in Kensington. But when I moved back to that neighborhood, it was not so, great there. But where I was, they were developing new places to live, new buildings. So there was a 50-50, like it was bad and great. So it's what it is. It's where we're at now. But I moved into this building called Globe Dye Works. First, I lived with my sister for a little bit. That's how bad it was. I moved into the back room of my sister's house. And thank God she was good enough to let me live there, because basically I was homeless at that point. So thank God for my sister. But then I finally found a place with my friend Damon from high school. My friend Damon Bain. We went to high school together, creative and performing arts in Philly, South Philly. And of course, we did visual art. Me and Damon, we grew up together. And we reconnected at the end and said, hey, let's do something cool together. So we were doing a lot of cool business ideas. We were just having fun. We had a studio there. We rented a space. And this place called Globe Dye Works was a thread company a long time ago, and they dyed yarn, thread. It was, I guess, basically it was mostly yarn thread, because I remember looking through parts of the building when they were developing it, and there was like bins of like old yarn, thread, cool stuff like that. And the place was geared towards people that did things. And what I mean by that, they were like specialty things. It wasn't like a place that was open up to a person that had like a job at a bank or something like that. And I'm not saying you're not important. I'm just saying they were trying to get artistic people in there. And I noticed like there was people in there that made coffee, and then there was people out there that made like cupcakes and ice cream, and there was like people like me and Damon who were visual artists. There was other visual artists in there. There were photographers. So it was a really great place for me, especially in the stage of life that I was, to start over. And it felt good because I wasn't, I was still doing Killer Creations. I had to. There was no money coming in from anywhere else, so I had to do that. But it was cool to be with a friend who I want to say, by the way, Damon, my friend Damon, is one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. Crazy. It's crazy. I've always said it too, like even when we weren't like together, I said, if you ever met this kid Damon, he's like the greatest guy ever. But anyway, so me and him did a lot of things together in there, and we had a space that was just like mostly just an art studio. Then the owners came to me a little while after that, and they approached me, which was cool. They said, Fred, we have actual living space studios coming. We're like finishing up building. Would you want to be a part of that, renting one of those spaces? And I was like, yes, for sure. So now I'm living there full time. And now I'm living there full time. And it was a great experience. It was sad at the same time because I'm living alone. But it was awesome at the same time because I had my space, my freedom. Like I did that space up. I wish I could show people what I had in there, but I probably could edit it right now and just throw up pictures. But maybe later. I'm not, this is too hard to edit all this stuff and then have another life outside of this. This is really tough. So I give it to some of the people that do this by themselves. This is no joke. But my place was really cool. Like those who know me, like know that I like some TV shows like Friends, and some of the things that I do, like they'll know, like if you walked into my space at Globe Dye Works, you seen it like it like mirrored me. Like it was like everything that I liked, of course. That's how it should be. That's how it should be, because you should wake up in your environment wanting to tackle the world, do whatever you got, but you got to wake up in an environment that encourages you, makes you feel better, makes you feel more alive. But like, yeah, like my space was really cool. Like for instance, like my I do love Friends a lot. I love Friends. I love The Office. There's a lot of shows that I love, right? But Friends was one of the best things. And I painted my door. I painted my door purple, the inside of my door purple, and I put the little yellow frame like the Friends door. I had a foosball table, but that's always been me, because all my friends, we all played foosball back in the day at the pizza shop. Everybody from Italy, we loved foosball, so I had to always have a foosball table. It was like that was it. But Joey and Chandler had a foosball table, so it was like perfect things. And then I had a Magnadoodle on the wall, like Joey and Chandler had, and I would write positive things on there, every day or whatever. And it was like a very cool space to be in. I had memories up hanging on the wall, a lot of artwork, a lot of cool stuff. It was all the old wood floors and new ceilings, new walls, but they mixed everything together. They really built a really nice place. Globe Dye Works. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. So anyway, being there, I started getting the ideas. I got a notebook, and I started writing down things that I would tell people to encourage them to do better. And I started writing down notes, like what would work, what worked for me, what would work for someone else. And I started teaching myself, like finding people, like finding mentors, finding people that would encourage me to do the right thing. Because even the Bible says that. It says seek out wise counsel, meaning seek out people that's got their stuff together. When you see someone and they're at the gym and they're like, let's say like they're physically fit, that means they're doing the right things, right? So you would ask them, how did you get that way? So that's what I did. I started looking up people on YouTube and listening while I was working. I was listening, building things in my mind to make it right. And one day, for the longest time, I never even noticed it, but there was a huge sign on top of the building at Globe Dye Works. There was a huge sign, and it was a globe. So it was like super high up in the air, and it was like a frame and metal, and it was like the globe. It was like the earth, right? And it said Globe Dye Works. But that was the old sign. So they had some artist, I don't know who it was. I did look it up, and what they did was they rearranged the letters on the sign to say Goodbye Works. So I basically was coming home on my bike after work, and it was a really nice day, and I looked up, and I just stared at it for a second, and I was like, wow, that's a really cool name. And I was like, that's the name for whatever I'm going to do. And I had no clue what I was going to do. I got it. And I was like, that's the name. My father said to me when I was young, really young, he said, do something for people that would benefit them and not just you. And that stayed with me for a long time. And I finally kind of got it. I was like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that with, my business now? That's all I do. It's just like Killer Creations was just about me. That's what it felt like. Killer Creations was just about me painting stuff and me being in the spotlight. So Goodbye Works. I seen that and I was like, wow, that's a really good name. And I started developing stuff around that. And that's where things started to come together. Things started to come together better. I need a drink. But yeah, so things started to come together, and I started to kind of have an idea formed, and it took a long time, as you can see, because now I'm here after 27 years. But I just started to realize, wow, I'm old now, and everything's gone. Everything that I thought had value is gone. Everything that I thought had meaning is now gone, and I'm by myself. So that sobered me up. People dying, things happening, that really sobered me up to say, what is the true meaning of life? And it took me a while to understand that. I remember when I was younger, I would, in school, I was smaller. Now I'm 6'1", but when I was younger, of course I was small. But I'm saying, like, when I was younger, I was smaller, meaning that people in school used to pick on me, right? And I'm not even lying. I would draw myself out of these fights that I would have to do at 3 o'clock after school was over. As soon as they said they want to fight me for no reason at all, I say, I'll draw you a picture. What do you want? Ninja Turtles, anything you want. I'll draw it for you, and that's it. I'm not fighting you. And they would agree. I literally drew myself through school. And maybe that's why I got good. People were going to beat me up. But so I remember, though, being young, and I'm not even kidding. This is so clear to me. I remember getting out of bed, maybe like 7, 8 years old, getting on my knees, not knowing who God is even yet. I'm a kid. I don't have no clue. But I asked God. I said, God, can you just get me out of school fast? Meaning, like, let the years go by. Get me out of school. I don't want to go there no more. I remember saying that. And now I'm here. It's like life goes by so quick. And we're just stuck watching the phone all the time. Do you understand how valuable your life is to watch the phone all the time? Before you know it, you're going to be like, oh, I wasted my whole life. And I'm not saying to, like, be someone, like, wasted your whole life. Like, I didn't be a singer. I didn't be a dancer. I'm not anybody. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm talking about, did you love your loved ones? Because I woke up to a call in the middle of the night. And my dad said, come to the hospital. Something happened to mommy. And that was it. That was it. Like, I want you to understand what life really means. It's not liking or keeping up with everybody's posts. I used to hate it when I used to hear people post something and say, sorry, haven't been on social media for a while. Who cares? Live your life. I don't need to know every single thing you're doing. I don't need to know when you're going to the dentist. Sorry, I know I'm probably hurting people's feelings. I don't need to know when you're eating green pepper. I don't need to know every part of your life. It's okay that you don't need to post every single thing. It's like, this is what I'm trying to get to, like, with people, like, say goodbye to that part of you and start living life. Fix old relationships. Fix relationships that are damaged. Call somebody. Talk on the phone with them. Stop texting people like you don't want to talk. Like, everybody's an introvert now. Everybody's an introvert. Everybody doesn't want to be bothered. Reach out to somebody, because it's like the best form of communication. No one can communicate to anybody anymore. No one knows how to lift their head up and say hello, thank you, you're welcome. The phone has destroyed humanity's way of really communicating that God established. Like, communication is great. And we've really lost that. I mean, we've really lost that. I'm not saying we lost it a little bit. We lost it. Like, look at how many people in the world hate each other for absolutely nothing. If you really step back and look at life, it's like we hate each other for absolutely nothing. I'm not going to be a part of it. It's just not happening. And this is what I'm challenging you to do. Step away from all the garbage. I know it's like, it's going to still be here. We're not going to get rid of it because humanity has painted itself into a corner with this. We think technology is good. Yeah, for some things it is. It's not necessarily bad. But what bad and evil people, the unseen evil, what they use technology for is to plot me and you against each other. It's so wrong. And we shouldn't be like that. It's kind of like the Ghostbusters movie. I think that's the Ghostbusters movie. I would have to call my friend Mike because Mike would know. Mike's somebody I used to go to all the time. Before the internet had Google, Mike was Google for me. I would call him up and say, what movie, what year, what actors, and he would know every single thing, books, comic books, whatever it was. But I'm pretty sure it was Ghostbusters where, like, they opened the containment system or whatever, and the guy from the city was like, shut this place down, and he said, no, don't do that, it's a horrible thing, and then he shut it down, and all the evil came out, and everybody was evil. This is what technology is doing. It's allowing everybody to be evil, right? It's allowing everybody to hate each other. And what we're doing is, by watching the phone, by watching TV all the time and all the stupid shows, the drama-filled shows, we're practicing hating each other. You don't realize it. It's so minute, but we're practicing hating each other. It's great, isn't it? Do you like seeing this? Do you like seeing constant fist fights over a football game, a hockey game, someone in a parking lot fighting over nonsense? Like, think about what I'm saying. It's not entertainment. We have to stop thinking it's entertainment. It's destroying you. It's destroying your kids. It's destroying everything. And it's going to happen. I'm not saying we got to save the world, because I'm not here to save the world. God already did that. Like, he already made a way. But what I'm trying to say is, you as a person individually, don't be a part of this. Stand out from the crowd. That's actually what the word holy means. It doesn't mean that you go to church and you're perfect and you're there on Sunday on time and you bake brownies and you say your little rehearsed prayers and you light candles. That's not what holy is. It doesn't mean that someone that stands up on a podium and talks to you and wears a white robe. That's not what holy is. Holy actually means, in the Hebrew, it means stand apart, like someone that is set aside, like stands out from the crowd. If you were a great human being, never saying perfect, I said a great human being that has been broken but is totally conscious of their behavior and knows how to forgive, knows how to say they're sorry, knows how to really love, then you're holy because you're set apart. You stand out from the crowd. See all these people fighting, doing videos, throwing up guns, thinking they're gangsters, and killing people, taking lives, doing home invasions. These people, I hope, change, because they're going to get it in the end, because we all die. That's one thing we're guaranteed. We're all going to die. But you see all those people doing all that stuff? Let's say you see a crowd of people, 30 people right here. They're all doing bad and evil. They're talking about people. They're hurting people. They're stealing, killing, whatever. And you're that one person right there that's not doing any of it. And none of it is affecting you. Know who you are? You're holy. Don't let any religious people say you're not holy because you don't do certain prayers or certain things. You're human. That's what we all are. We're human. That makes more sense to me than anything. We're human, and we're trying to learn this together. Yeah, change who you are today and say goodbye to that old you. It's like, it takes time. It's just like the gym. I always say it's like the gym. You're never going to see results in 2 or 3 days of working out at the gym. You're going to see results over 3, 6 months to a year. And that's the same thing with life. Go through those challenges. Go through things. I get it. Everybody's going through stuff. But if you can be someone that can go through something with someone else, be that person. When you're up and someone's down, lift them up. It makes so much sense that is what life is. You can still have a great job. You can still do what you want. You can still own a lot of real estate. You can still, be an entrepreneur. You can still have a cool car. Don't lose what you are as a human. Don't lose all that. Still be human. Don't be prideful and think you're above everybody because you achieve some kind of success. That's what I'm talking about. You can still be great and up here, but when someone's down here where you were once, always lift them up. That's what we should be doing. That is the true meaning of life. Until next time.